2019, consider the request of Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief, for the confirmation of the nomination of Barrister Adeleke Adewolu as Executive Commissioner on the Governing Board of the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, and referred same to this committee for further legislative action. This is in consonance with the provision of Section 8I of the Nigerian Communication Act 2003, which states that all commissioners to be appointed after the coming into force of this Act shall be appointed by the President in accordance with the Section 7 of this Act from the 6 geopolitical zones of Nigeria, subject to confirmation of the Senate. Mr. President, distinguished senators, you will recall that the erstwhile Executive Commissioner, Mr. Sunday Dare, representing Southwest Geopolitical Zone, was inaugurated as a member of the Federal Executive Council by Mr. President, President Muhammadu Buhari, on Wednesday, 21st August 2019, thus creating a vacuum to be filled on the board of the Commission in consonance with Section 11, subsection 2 of the Nigerian Communications Act 2003, which states that a vacancy in the board shall be filled by the appointment of another person to the vacant office by the President in accordance with Section 8 of this Act, as soon as it is reasonably practicable after the occurrence of such vacancy. Governing Board of the NCC. The Nigerian Communication Commission Board is a revolving board with the commissioners existing at the end of their tenure and new appointments replacing them. In accordance with Section 5 of the Nigerian Communications Act 2003, the board of NCC consists of 9 commissioners made up of 6 non-executive commissioners who hold office on part-time basis and 3 executive commissioners who are full-time commissioners. The 3 executive commissioners are the executive vice chairman, chief CEO, and 2 executive commissioners. Section 5, subsection 3 stipulates that the President shall ensure at all times that there is a duly constituted board of commissioners and that there are a minimum of 6 serving commissioners on the board at any and all times, made up of chief executives, 2 executive commissioners, and 3 non-executive commissioners. Section 7, subsection 1, A to H, stipulates that commissioners shall be persons of recognized standing, qualification, and experience, and in one or more of the following fields: finance or accounting, law, consumer affairs, telecommunications, engineering, information technology, engineering generally, economics, and public administration. The methodology that the committee used was that they received the curriculum vitae and other supporting documents of the nominee, as well as relevant security clearances, and invited him to appear before it for the screening exercise. The nominee appeared before the committee on Monday, 7th October 2019. The committee interviewed him and received explanations regarding his qualifications, experience, suitability, competence, and ability in communications regulatory matters. He was screened as follows. And I think we all have the document in front of us, so I'm going to skip that. But we know that Barrister Adeleke Adewolu was born 28 August 1964 in Ifo local government area of Ogun State. He's also a lawyer, a barrister at law, and he's done his youth service. We see all these other items in the document we have in front of us. His work experience is also laid out, so I won't go into that. But the response to the questions that were asked Barrister Adewolu He responded very well to the questions and issues raised by the committee and satisfactorily convinced the committee that he would utilize his vast experience in law and public administration for the advancement of the communications sector in Nigeria if his nomination is confirmed by the Senate. He possesses personal traits, academic competence, and professional experience required to serve and be appointed as Executive Commissioner on the governing board of the Nigerian Communication Commission. Our findings: this nomination by Mr. President and Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is in consonance with the provision of Section 8, subsection I of the Nigerian Communications Act 2003. The professional and educational experience of the nominee will contribute immensely to the development of the communication sector in Nigeria. Vetting inquiries conducted on the nominee to ascertain his competence creditably and suitability for appointment as Executive Commissioner on the governing board of the Nigerian Communication Commission were favorable. The nominee met the constitutional requirement for appointment into office as enshrined in Section 7, subsection 1A to H of the NCA Act 2003. Our recommendations: the committee, after exhaustive deliberations and scrutiny of the curriculum vitae and other supporting documents of the nominee, and having been satisfied with his qualifications, experience, suitability, competence, and ability in communications regulatory matters, hereby recommends that the Senate do confirm the nominee, Barrister Adeleke Adewolu, as Executive Commissioner on the governing board of the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC. Our prayer is that the Senate do approve the recommendation of the committee. I want to thank Mr. President.
Colleagues, my name is Uche Ekwunife. I represent Anambra Central and from Anambra State. Mr. President, I want to draw the attention of the Senate to Section 8, subsection 1 of the NCC Act. And I read that the commissioners must be appointed from the 6 geopolitical zones of Nigeria. Mr. President, it may interest you to know that all the commissioners of NCC, none is from the Southeast. Let me just read out the names here, Mr. President. We have Senator Olabi, Chairman, Southwest, Professor Magaruba, Northwest, Engineer Maska, Commissioner Northwest, Professor Millionaire Nestor, South-South, Mr. Aliyu Sadu Abubakar, Northeast, Abdullah Mohammed Salman, North Central, Mr. Clement Omizibaye, North Central, Adeleke Adewolu, Southwest. In summary, Northwest has 2, North Central 2, Northeast 1, South 1, Northwest 2, and South is 0. I also want to use this opportunity, Mr. President, to bring in the Code of Conduct Bureau too. As it is.
Distinguished. Excuse me, please. Distinguished.
Leave of my colleagues to please intervene in this matter so that the Southeast will be represented in NCC Commission. There is no Southeast there. And this is time for us to get it done. If you consider, I'm not against whoever they bring in, I'm not. But then they should be done as stipulated in the NCC Act, that every zone of this country must be represented. As it is, none is from Southeast. And this is an opportunity for us to correct the anomaly. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President,
you are not the senator from Igbo. So
I rise to support and speak in line with what Senator Ekwunife has said. Section 5.3 of the SEM stipulates that Mr. President shall ensure at all times that there is a duly constituted board of commissioners, and that refers to what she has said. But what I urge that this Honorable Red Chamber should look into this passionate appeal for the filling of something that's not complete. I also want to appeal that Federal Charter Principle, and whoever is the chairman of the Federal Charter Committee should look into some of these appointments. So there should be equitable distribution of these positions and infrastructures in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, especially as it involves appointments. For Southeast to be omitted from this is not very good. So in the same line, let Federal Charter Committee look into this in all appointments from now henceforth, so we can see equitable. I'm sure even in the Southwest, the appointment so far is not properly distributed. So let's apply the Federal Charter principles in all our appointments in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
A law-making institution, and when we make laws, we want the laws to be adhered to. So, Chairman, Communications. Chairman, Communications. Please, your committee should investigate this. She read, our colleague read out a list. You should investigate how the actual appointments are, and if the Southeast is missing completely, that will not be an adherence to the law. So something has to be done to reflect the presence of the Southeast as the law provides for. I think we can, Senate Leader, we resort to Committee of the Whole.
I move that the Senate resolves into Committee of the Whole to consider the report. I so move.
The nomination, and I'll put the question. Will the Senate approve the nomination of Barrister Adeleke Adewolu? Point of
This is a constitutional matter, Mr. President, and I will suggest that this matter be stepped down. Mr. President, Mr. President,
Order. Constitutional.
Section 14(4) of the Constitution, which is very clear, Mr. President. Section 14, subsection 4, says, subsection 3, that the composition, I read, Mr. President, with your permission, that the composition of the government of the Federation or any of its agencies and the conduct of its affairs shall be carried out in such a manner as to reflect the federal character of Nigeria and the need to promote national unity and also to command national loyalty, thereby ensuring that there shall be no predominance of persons from a few states or from a few ethnic or other sectional group in that government or in any of its agencies. Mr. President, we are lawmakers, and we cannot be seen to be flouting the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Mr. President, I will urge this respected chamber to step down the confirmation. Because once we do the confirmation, that means as legislators, we have completed the process. So I urge this respected Senate to step down the confirmation. Thank you.
Of order was needless, really, because the issue was raised by our colleague, Senator Uche Ekwunife, and the chair took note of it. And in fact, we directed our committee on communications to go further and investigate what the situation is, and we said the law must be adhered to. So I think that is fair enough, but to say that we are not taking this report, I think we are past that stage. We have already taken the resolution to take this report, and this Senate will go ahead and take the report. Please, we need the understanding of everybody here. There is no way that we will not take this report because we have already taken the resolve to continue with taking the report. But we have noted from what she read that something is not right. But as a parliament, we should go the extra mile for our committee to investigate what happened, and then if that is the true situation, something has to be done to address the absence of the Southeast. What else can we do more than that? I think we should go ahead and confirm this thing. So I will put the question, please.
Mr. President.
Will the Senate approve the nomination of Barrister Adeleke Adewolu for appointment as Executive Commissioner on the Governing Board of the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say nay.
Nay.
The ayes have it. Senate Leader.
Mr. President, I have to resume plenary to report progress.
Minority Leader, please second the motion. Plenary.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we revert to plenary.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, the Senate in the Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Committee on Communications on the screening of Mr. President's nominee for appointment as Executive Commissioner on the Governing Board of the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, and approved the nomination of Barrister Adeleke Adewolu as Executive Commissioner on the Governing Board of the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Barrister Adeleke Adewolu for appointment as Executive Commissioner on the Governing Board of the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC? Those in favor of the motion say aye. Of this say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Barrister Adeleke Adewolu is hereby confirmed as Executive Commissioner on the Governing Board of the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC. Distinguished colleagues who have raised the observation on the absence of the Southeast on the governing board, that this Senate will ensure that our laws are adhered to. And if our committee chair, our committee on communications is supposed to let us know what the true position is, and if the Southeast is completely missing, we will ensure that the law is adhered to, and therefore a nomination for the Southeast is brought in for confirmation as well. I believe that this Senate will continue to do the right thing. But before we conclude on this, let me say that the NCC so far has not done so well. We still have so many millions of people with lines that are not properly registered. This continues to be a security risk to us. The NCC is supposed to sit up. The taxes, even the revenues from NCC have not been meeting the targets. So many of these operators don't pay the proper taxes. The NCC, especially the management, the EVC and others must ensure that we get our revenues from these operators. Similarly, Nigerians don't get the right services from the operators. We pay heavily and yet the services are not reliable. We expect that by the time they have full complements, they must ensure that Nigerians get the best of services and NCC lives up to its billing and mandate. Thank you very much.
Express a concern on the point of order that was raised earlier, that is section 14, subsection 3, which my colleague raised earlier. And I'm coming. Please hear me out. Sir, the point I want to make here is we're looking at this constitutional provision from the perspective of the headship, and the committee has been asked to look into it. But the point I want to raise here also is to say that since it is talking about federal character provision, the committee should go deeper to look at the entire complement of staff of NCC so that we will see what different sections of the country are having in terms of staffing.
Chair, please, your committee should give us the list of what is supposed to be representative of the governing board by Tuesday. Let's know what is there. But only the governing board. What the constitution... You can speak from your seat.
I like to be fair. I'm a Nigerian, no matter what. But this one, that one, we'll take care of it. But I want to meet with the executive of NCC so that we can really meet with them than me making assumptions. So I would like us that when we resume after our break from going to do the budget, that I will have a report there.
I think the list is not going to be a big problem, getting the list. It's only the list of the executive directors. If you will not be around on the speech, copies of the speech of Mr. President, because we ask our committee on appropriations to work in conjunction with the committee on rules and business to send to all distinguished senators the speech of Mr. President in both soft and hard copies. It is my hope that every senator has gotten both or at least one. And that's good. We commend our committee on appropriations. But I also have a list of senators who have indicated interest to speak today. So there will be no need for raising of hand. Because if your name is here, I will definitely call that name. And so far we have a list of only 21 senators who have indicated. If you want your name, if you want to make your contribution today and your name is not here, you can write it there. There is still the opportunity for us to take those. But let me also appeal to all of us that we can justifiably extend our sitting here beyond 2 o'clock if we are not able to take everybody who is on the list. Because this is possibly one of the most important and significant bills that we can debate on. So with this, I think the Senate leader can lead the point of order. Minority.
By the indulgence of the Senate and the leave of the President of the Senate, the Senator may make a personal explanation, although there is no question before the Senate. The reason why I'm raising this point of order, Mr. President, is that we are live, and we would not want our people who are watching to misunderstand what went on here with regard to NCC. The Southeast had a slot. The person who was on that slot left the party to go and run election in another party and thereby resign. So that slot is still there. What was raised was the fact that no nomination has been made for the Southeast for that slot. It does not mean that we will now go to investigate NCC as if there is something else that is there. It's a very simple matter. It is simply for the committee chairman to let you know that there is a vacancy, and we can communicate to the presidency to nominate people to fill that slot. Simple.
Minority, you know, you have solved a lot of problem here. You have set the record straight. In the first place, we didn't ask our Committee on Communications to investigate the NCC. We didn't. All we asked for was the list of the executive directors. And all we wanted to know is how Southeast is completely missing when the law says every geopolitical zone must be represented. So now with this explanation, I think you have actually solved the problem. If we are able, we still have to go ahead to find out if there is no replacement. If there is no replacement, then all we need to do is to request the executive arm of government to send a nomination to fill in that gap for the Southeast. It is as simple as that. Thank you very much for that personal explanation. But before we take the lead debate from the Senate leader, we have the list here, so you don't have to raise your hand. Because if your name is here,